Whether you're thinking about buying a home or selling a home,
Trish Sells ATL can help.
with the current Atlanta real estate market, buyer and seller opportunities are better than ever.
Thank y'all so much, but I'll take it from here. Sellers, this is your market. It's time for you to get off of that fence and put your home on the market and get it sold to my buyers who are waiting for you to list your home. I'd love to earn your business, so please give Trish a call at Keller Williams Realty Buckhead, 404-604-3800, or text or call 404-819-4495. Please also visit my website at TrishSellsATL.com. Let's talk about how I can assist you with achieving your real estate goals and making your dreams a reality.
List your house with our mommy at TrishSellsATL.com.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Atlanta Home Buyer Webinar. Welcome to the Trish Atlanta Home Buyer Webinar. This is our annual webinar. I do a home buyer webinar every February. A lot of people have these issues because they want to home, they want to know how they want to do. So we post this webinar every. So thank you to everybody who got hello. Good morning, everybody got coffee, got it ready. We'll be on here for that. So grab your coffee. I need you guys to like. I need you to share. I need you to share this seminar so that we can talk real estate, talk about this housing market, and talk about how to move forward. And so if this is your first time on here, if you are SVP to the Home Buyer Webinar, thank you so much. Those who are SVP and they are in attendance, they have been entered the drawing to win a grand prize, y'all. And I will tell you what that grand prize is at the end of the webinar. So if you RSVP'd and that was before right now, 10 o'clock, your name was entered in the drawing to win a grand prize. So thank you so much for registering for this home buyer seminar. I need you to tag, I need you to like, I need you to share. I need you to tell somebody that there is a wealth of information that is going to be released on this webinar today. We have our loan lender, our mortgage broker. He will be on. I did a pre-record with the inspector so that you can get some information on that. Unfortunately, our closing attorney is under the weather. Y'all keep her in your prayers. But she has a wealth of information, and we will do a pre-record or do a live recording just for closing. I feel that you guys need to know the information of how closing goes down, and I'll touch on it a little bit today, but I want you to grab your coffee, your breakfast. I can't see you eating. So it's all wet. It's all good. It's all good. So that we can get started. I need you to tag, like, and share. Tell somebody about this webinar. And I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. And then we will start. Thank you, everybody on Instagram. I see y'all. Thank you so much for showing up, showing out Facebook. Thank you so much, YouTube. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook, giving this wealth of information. So I just want you to tag somebody who you believe this will be useful, even if they're not buying a house tomorrow. They will need to buy a home eventually because everyone needs somewhere to live. So I need you to go ahead, tag those people, like this video. I need you to share it. I need you to share. So I will start off by introducing myself. I am Trish Myrick. I have been in the real estate business. July will be 14 years that I have been in the real estate business. So I have seen the market go up. I've seen it go down. As a matter of fact, when I got my real estate license, the market collapsed. That was it's back in 2008. So the market had collapsed. We had a lot of real estate owned property. So I learned real estate really from the back end of the bank owned properties and, investors flipping them, buying them for dirt cheap, flipping them, and renting them out. Well, now we have the market that I like to call the Wild Wild West that we are in now, where there are no discounts. You're paying full price above and beyond with this current market. So I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about me. I am homegrown. I am from the ATL. So understand that when I go out and I am, doing real estate, I understand that I'm representing the city that I grew up in. I am an Atlanta public school graduate, and I further matriculated to the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! We get a second chance to whoop Alabama behind y'all. We gonna do it this time. Don't quote me, but we gonna whoop they behind this time, okay? So I'm definitely homegrown. I love being able to give back to my community. I do community events. Pre-COVID, I did a lot of career days because, I like to let young people know that I understand college isn't for everybody. Yes, I do believe that you need some type of training, even if it's 2 years when you want to run a business, but also to be the example to show them that, you can have a career and a lucrative career at that. So I'm a mom. I have a college student. I have a high school student and I have an elementary school student, y'all. What is I'm going to do? But she's getting ready to come up out of elementary school. We got about 1.5 more years. So I have 3, a son, 2 daughters, and I have my dog, my fur baby, my first son. His name is Bentley. And so we just make life work. Real estate is a business that input equals output, which is what I tell my fellow realtors in my coaching and training. I believe that, the next step is coaching and training other realtors, to dominate the market. There is enough real estate in Atlanta for everybody. So there is no need to, not, give trade secrets. I believe in sharing the wealth of information because ultimately I want to leave a legacy when I am no longer here. So just wanted to throw that out. I absolutely love what I do. To be in this business on the highs and lows for 14 years. It has been a ride, but I am grateful and thankful for every client, every person that refers me business, my referral partners who are in other states, my vendors, my mortgage brokers and lenders, and my closing attorney, my handyman, my contractors, down even to my cleaning ladies. Thank you all. My team, I would not be able to do what I do without them. So thank you so much. I have an exclusive buyer's agent. Her name is Rondalyn. Thank you, Rondalyn, for all that you do. I have 2 more people coming on to join this team. So our team will be official in March of 2022. So just wanted to give you a little update on that as we continue to push forward to dominate this real estate market. So how y'all doing? Y'all check in, drop a hello in the comment, a good morning. How y'all feeling? I know we keep getting news about these new variants and all of this stuff, y'all, but the only thing that I can do is say keep the faith, and just wear your mask. Just wear your mask. But how are y'all doing? Drop in the comments if you're on Facebook. Just check in. Hey, how you doing? I'm okay. Instagram, I'm waving back at y'all. I can't really type because I have the phone up on my ring. Hey, Jacqueline, thank you so much for tuning in. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We have our lender who's going to come on. Like I said, I have a pre-record from the home inspector, and we will continue to just make things work. Instagram, I am going to upload this video. Once this is all over, y'all know I put the real video on my feed. So even though you can't see my screen, you'll be able to hear me. So the home buying process, that's what we are going to talk about first. And so one of the very first things that as a home buyer, you say, hey, I'm tired of renting. It could be, everybody's rent is going up from my understanding. Rent is sky high. And so you made the decision. You said, hey, it's time for me to build wealth. It's time for me to purchase an asset, because as long as I'm paying the landlord, I'm paying money into their asset. I'm not paying money into my asset. I'm paying money into their asset. And so now I want to purchase a home so that I have collateral. I have an asset. I have something that I'm putting money into. I have something that I am leaving for my children, my children's children, okay? So when you begin this process, one of the very first things that you do is you need to select a real estate agent. The reason why you do this first is because as realtors, and I am a realtor, which means I'm a member of the National Board of Realtors, the Georgia Association of Realtors, and also the Atlanta Board of Realtors, okay? And so us as agents, we have the wealth of information to get you to each point that is needed when it comes time for you to purchase this home. So once you select your real estate agent, we will recommend you to a lender. I work with several lenders, y'all. And so first step, once you choose a real estate agent, we say, hey, we listen to your goals. I have a buyer consultation. We talk about what you want to do, how soon you want to do it, your why behind why, you're moving. I like to get your motivation so I can keep you motivated, especially in this type of market that we're in now. And so you go over to the lender and you obtain financial pre-approval. You obtain financial pre-approval, guys. And so from that point, I have already analyzed your needs in a consultation, because during the consultation, that's when I recommend a lender to you. And so once you select your lender, you go through the financial pre-approval process. Right now, it is very important that you get with a lender and they give you a pre-approval. A lot of lenders now are doing the credit approval up front because we are in a very, very competitive real estate market. I am not saying that you cannot find a house in this market. What I'm saying is it's very competitive. So you want to have all of your ducks in a row. When you are credit approved, that means that the lender has asked for your paycheck stubs, your last 2 tax returns, your W-2s, your driver's license. They've asked for this information, and they're going to and your bank statements, and they're going to run this and put you in front of the underwriter so that you are credit approved. When you are credit approved, that's a little bit stronger than pre-approval, because we know that the only thing you have to do at this point is find the house. That's one of the questions that the listing agents are asking. Ask me how I know. I'm also not only a buyer's agent, I am a listing agent as well. And so the sellers want to know, can this person close on this house? Can this person close? And so that is why we go through that process of pre-approval up front, get you pre-approved, so that way we know the only thing that we have to do is find the home. Okay, so once we've gotten your pre-approval letter, I onboard you in the state of Georgia. We sign what is called a buyer brokerage agreement. Buyer brokerage agreement, yes. In order for you to hire me as your realtor, you have to sign a buyer brokerage agreement. You have duties to me as the independent contractor that is representing the broker, who is Keller Williams. And I have a duty to you as the independent contractor who is representing you in this real estate transaction. And so this is what this buyer brokerage agreement it outlines. In order for me to be able to represent you in your real estate transaction, you do have to sign this form. I get information from buyers all the time. Oh, I work with another agent. They never made me sign it. Listen, we follow protocol. It's going to protect you. It's going to protect me. And then we'll be in agreement. We'll be shaking hands like a big happy family all the way to the closing table and beyond, because I have clients for life. We check in every day. Being in this business, I've had repeat clients who have come back to me. They sold their home, they purchased another. So at the end of the day, it's about the relationship, and signing that agreement is the beginning of the relationship and my responsibilities to you as a potential client. So after this agreement is signed, a lot of times I've already set up your portal. Georgia MLS and FMLS are 2 systems where we have our homes. I know you guys like Zillow and Realtor.com and all of them, but hey, let me tell y'all a little secret. they get those listings from our MLS system, okay? So when you're getting that alert, it's actually a delay because the realtor will have already put that listing in the system prior to you getting that alert on Zillow. But here's the thing. In this current market, you want to get that alert as soon as the listing agent hits save or submit. That's when you want to get it. You don't want to get this alert 2 and 3 hours later because you already know this market is highly competitive. So the quicker that you get it, the quicker that you can go look at it, the faster you can put an offer in and get in front of that seller. So time is of the essence. And so while we, I know y'all like to look at Zillow and all of that, but as a realtor, that's why we set up these portals for you so that as soon as the listing agent puts it in, you get that alert. So you are hours, minutes, seconds ahead of Zillow, ahead of Realtor.com and all of that so that you can get the first leg up on viewing these homes and submitting an offer. And so you select which homes you want to see out of this portal. We schedule an appointment to go and view these homes. Now, what I'm seeing in this current industry, y'all, you need to be looking at a house within 24 to 48 hours of it hitting the market. You need to be looking at this home, this potential home, within 24 to 48 hours. Y'all, these homes are going so fast. At the blink of an eye, they are under contract. And so with that being said, time waits for no one, and the houses do not either. They just simply do not. There is some people who are literally, when they get that alert, they must have an alarm on their phone because they get up, they text their agent, hey, put an offer in on it. They're going to see it, and before you know it, 24 hours under contract. I've seen it as a listing agent, going through 30 offers, going through 40 offers for one home. So time is of the essence, you guys. So you write an offer for purchasing the home, right? You write the offer. The seller may agree to it. The seller may want to negotiate some terms. The seller may want to decline your offer. It all depends on what offers they already have in front of them. That's why I'm saying time is of the essence, y'all. Time is of the essence, and we have to make sure that we are moving efficiently when it comes to this home buying process. So if we negotiate terms, we'll go back and forth. The seller may counter you. They may counter your offer. They may say, well, hey, I really like their offer, but they need to go up about $5,000. Or the due diligence period, which is the inspection period, which is a very important period when it comes to our contracts. They may say the inspection period is too long. They only need 24 to 48 hours for the inspector to come out. Now, traditionally in the market that we're in right now, the due diligence period is between about 3 and 5 days. It's the market expectation right now. So if you have a 10-day due diligence period, most sellers frown upon that because that's 10 days that they would have had to take their home off of the market, for you to get inspected. And so we try to be reasonable and we look at the market expectations when we are doing it. And so let's say that we negotiated all terms and your seller says, okay, we're going to sign. I agree with what you said. I'm willing to, take my chances and take my home off the market for you. So that's when we go under contract. That is when we go under contract. We go under contract, we go under contract. And so when you see pending, when you see under contract, that's what that means. The seller has accepted an offer on that home. And so there are 3 components when it comes to this home buying process and once you have gone under contract. The first component, well, I'll say 4, because the first component is your earnest money. Your earnest money is like a deposit or your good faith saying, I'm going to purchase this home. Now, some sellers do look at the amount of the earnest money, and they feel like the more earnest money you put down, the more likely you are to purchase this home. So it kind of tells the seller how serious you are. So that's one of the major components. Now, market expectation is 1% of the purchase price. However, we are in a very competitive market. So I'm seeing earnest money anywhere between 2 to 5% of the purchase price. The second component is the inspection / due diligence period, which they are used synonymously. This is the time when the inspector comes out. Now, I have inspectors that I work with. They can usually be out at a home within 24 hours. And that is vital to, I feel like, my business and to serve my clients. Because if we want to know what's going on with this home, Georgia is a buyer beware state. So although a seller may give you what is called a seller's property disclosure statement, and they're telling you what they believe has happened with the house, think about it. We're all human. And so some people, they may forget that they had work done 10 years ago. They may not remember, how old their systems are. I mean, it's just a plethora of things that we may forget. And so Georgia is the buyer beware state, and it is the buyer's responsibility to get an inspection on the home that they are purchasing. So the due diligence period is vital. My inspectors can get out there within 24 to 48 hours normally. So we know exactly what's going on with the house. I get my report back within 24 hours, usually same day. And so we can review the inspection report to determine what's going on with the house. Now, a home is never going to be perfect. Even with new construction, I have seen things come back on an inspection report for a new construction home. But the thing is, you have to ask the seller, which most sellers right now, they aren't doing a lot of repairs. It just really, really depends. But you can request, that if a repair is needed, through an amendment to address concerns, if there are any major repairs. Now, if it's some minor things or some cosmetic things or some things that you can live with as a buyer, you can make that decision too. You can say, well, hey, this will only cost, $200 to fix. It's nothing to be in an uproar about. And you can decide, hey, I'm just going to take care of it after closing. Those are your options, because some sellers, they're saying as is, meaning they are not doing any repairs. That doesn't mean that you cannot request them, because you can do so using an amendment to address concerns. However, if the seller says, I'm not doing anything, so if you want to terminate your contract, you may. That's when you have to be in that position to decide, is this repair a deal breaker for me? Historically, I advise clients look at the major components of the house: your hot water heater, your furnace, your HVAC system, your ducts. When you have a FHA loan and when our lender comes on, the home has to be sound, safe, and sanitary. So that means that, it has to be a sound. It can't be in disrepair. It has to be safe. So the windows have to be able to close, go up and down. The doors have to be in place. It has to be sanitary. It has to be habitable. So these are the things that after you get an inspection that you pay for FHA and DA, they have appraisers that come in and they inspect the property as well. So if they see something that is mandatory for the seller to do in order for them to close on it, a lot of times the seller will go ahead and repair it. So it just really depends. This is still negotiation. That's why that due diligence period is vital when it comes to your contract. That's why it is vital. And so moving on to the mortgage process. So now you've already been credit underwritten, right? And so you have a contract. We submit the contract to the lender. We submit the contract to the closing attorney, right? We also submit the seller's property disclosure to the inspector, so he can kind of have a heads up on what to look for when it comes to doing the inspection. So with your lender, they get a copy of your contract and they have to submit it to underwriting. They also have to submit a request for your appraisal. And right now, lenders are doing the appraisal fairly quickly because it's taking about 3 to 5 days for an appraiser to pick up your loan to initiate and schedule to go out to appraise this home. And so they normally go out. It takes about 5 days after that. And then once they do the appraisal, they have 7 days to submit a report. And so if you're doing a contract, and contracts are normally 30 days, they're about 30 days. They may go 45, but most sellers, they're looking for 30-day closes, y'all. And so when this happens, when the appraiser goes out, the lender, gets the appraisal, and you do have to pay for an appraisal. They're anywhere between $500 to $550, depending on your lender. But when they go out and they do this appraisal, the time frame, we have to make sure that we're giving them enough time to go out, to complete the report, to send it back to us, and for us to review it. So I got asked a question the other day, like, why is the appraisal being requested up front? Well, it's being requested up front because we are giving the lender, giving the appraiser an opportunity to schedule. They have to coordinate with if the home is still occupied, they have to coordinate with the listing agent as well, so that they can get in and get this appraisal done. So this is why it is requested up front in that manner. And so once the appraisal goes in, we have 2 things that can happen. It can appraise for above the contract price, or it can appraise for below the contract price. If it appraises for below the contract price, here comes negotiations again. The bank will normally only pay for what the home appraises for, y'all. The bank will only pay for what the home appraises for. So if it appraises for lower, there's 2 things that could happen. In the current market, we have something that's called an appraisal gap. What is an appraisal gap, Trish? What is an appraisal gap? Well, an appraisal gap is when the buyer pays the difference between what the home appraises for and what the contract price is. This is something that is normally placed in the special stipulations portion of your contract, especially if it's multiple offers. It's a bidding war, right? And so we've gone beyond the list price. And so as a listing agent, one of the sellers says, well, what if it doesn't appraise? And that's when the appraisal gap conversation comes in. Can the buyer purchase this home? Right? Can they purchase this home and put the extra money so that the seller still gets the contract price? And so that's the question that is asked usually up front when we are negotiating offers. The second thing that could happen is that the seller could say, you know what, I'll just take the appraisal price. But in the current market that we're in, I have yet to see that, y'all. The sellers want whatever you put on that contract. That is what they're agreeing to. So it's very difficult. And if we get in multiple offers and we see that offers are going $10,000, $20,000 over list price, that's when we have the conversation about the appraisal gap. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that, because this market is not the same market that your grandmama purchased her house, that your mom may have purchased their house, that your sister, brother, auntie, cousin may have purchased a house. This is a completely different market. So I need you guys to understand, and I know, family means well, your friends mean well, your coworkers even mean well when they're giving you real estate advice. But understand, we are professionals in this business. I do real estate every day. It is not part-time for me. It is full-time, down to market reports, data, me looking at contracts, me looking at the trends. And so understand that I'm coming to you from a place of knowledge and experience to make sure that I have armed you with the information necessary for you to make an informed real estate decision. And so with that being said, understand that if we're talking appraisal gap, I'm going to give you, like I tell people, the juice and the tea. I'm going to say, hey, if you go over this price, This is what it's actually, I pull the comp. So whenever you're negotiating an offer, I pull the comparables in the neighborhood to make sure that we are on one accord when it comes to what it could appraise for. So if we're going over that number that I'm giving you, we're having a conversation about the appraisal gap to make sure that you are prepared in the event that the house that you want, the house that you have made an offer on, the house that you say that you love does not appraise. And so on to the closing attorney portion, we send your contract to the closing attorney. Why are they so important? Especially when you are an investor. The closing attorney represents the lender, and the closing attorney for investors, they're the lifeline to get you closed. We send it to them because they conduct what is called a title search. They make sure that there are no encumbrances on the title. There are no liens, y'all. I have seen water liens. I have seen HOA liens. I have seen IRS liens, y'all. So when you get ready to purchase a house, they are going to skim that house to make sure they have a title abstractor that goes down to that courthouse, and they pull that information to make sure that there is nothing that can prevent you from purchasing the house. Yes, if the seller has a lien on that house, they have to satisfy that balance before they can transfer the title over to you. And so that is one of the major functions of our closing attorney, to make sure that we are legally transferring property to and fro. In the event that a seller does have a lien, a HOA lien, a water lien, or just a mechanic's lien on the home, they have to make sure that with the proceeds, those liens can be satisfied. Some of the liens and the proceeds, some of the liens cannot be satisfied by the proceeds. And so herein lies another problem. So that is why when your contract gets accepted, we send it over to not only your lender, but to the closing attorney too, so that they can start the work on the front end. And if there are any issues that arise, we can get those rectified prior to us going to closing, y'all. And so they also obtain title insurance, because once the title abstractor has gone out there, once everything has been rectified, if need be, you have to have title insurance. So that means that the closing attorney basically went out, they did their job with the title search. After the liens are satisfied, after you purchase this home, nobody can come back and say, oh, that was my granddad's house that was gifted to somebody, and now you sold it and I'm going to sue you. That's why you're going to have title insurance, so that to make sure that in the event that an issue arises, you're insured, because the closing attorney up front researched that title. So should any litigation arise, that title insurance will be taken care of. One of the other components that the lender does for the buyer is they help shop you around for homeowners insurance. So some of you all may have renter's insurance. So when you are renting a property, you have renter's insurance. So when you get ready to purchase a property, you have to have homeowners insurance. And so you may be with a company, you may be able to bundle it with, your car or your article insurance or something like that. So the lender helps you get the best price when it comes to the homeowner's insurance. So with that being said, those are the major three components: the inspection, the mortgage lending process, and then the closing attorney process when it comes to getting you ready to purchase this home. And so if all systems are go from the inspection, if we've resolved all the issues, if the lender, you've gone through underwriting, tidbit, 10 days before closing, usually, the underwriter is running your credit again. They're doing your employment verification. They want your bank statements. They want all updated information. I know you're going to say, but Trish, I already gave this to them. Give it to them again. Give them whatever they ask for, so that you can get what is called your clear to close. Those are our favorite words. Those three words right there: clear to close. When you are clear to close, that means that your inspection has been resolved. On the mortgage side, you satisfy everything that they have requested and asked you for. And we contact the closing attorney and we say, when can we schedule your closing? And so the lender has to send the closing attorney closing documents. There are a lot of documents. So when you get ready to close, make sure you've been going to the gym and lifting weights, because you're going to have to sign a lot of documents, y'all. You got to sign a lot of documents. But we schedule with the closing attorney. The lender sends the closing attorney a package. We get on their calendar so that we can get you closed. And so the lender will also let you know how much money you need to wire to the closing attorney's office for closing. So they will let you know how much money you need to wire so that you can get closed. You usually have to wire that information, wire those funds over to the closing attorney. You cannot write a check. You have to wire it, unless it's like a balance, I think, less than $500. But now in this industry, you have to wire your money, okay? No checks, y'all. And so once we obtain those funds, we are at the closing table singing Kumbaya. We're celebrating. Your arm is falling off because you're signing the same document 3 times, but you got to do original signatures for all 3 times, right? And so you're signing away, and boom, you get your keys. We take pictures. We celebrate you purchasing your home. It is one of the largest transactions that you will ever make. And so we celebrate. We are thankful and grateful. One thing that I miss before we schedule closing, we do a final walkthrough, because we want to make sure that the same way that when you saw that home when you first saw it, when you saw it again at the inspection, before you get ready to close, we do a final walkthrough. So we make sure that the house is in the same condition and it's being conveyed in the same condition that we agreed upon. And so we do all of that right before closing, about 24 to 48 hours prior to closing. We're doing a final walkthrough, we're wiring funds, and then we're headed to the closing table. And so although this was a brief synopsis on closing, if you have any questions for me, you can always email us, info@TrishSellsATL.com, info@TrishSellsATL.com. You can call you can call or text me 404, just not right now because I'm still on the live until 12, but 404-819-4495, 404-819-4495. You can text me if you have any additional questions for clarification. If you want a copy of this right here, the home buying process, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. If you are on the RSVP list, this will be sent to you. But if you are listening on Instagram, you want a copy of it, info@TrishSellsATL.com, and that's info@TrishSellsATL.com. And so we are going to move on to the inspection portion of the video of our webinar this morning. As I told you before, our inspector, he actually had another commitment on today, but he was so gracious to actually do a pre-record with me. And so I'm so grateful for that, because that gave us an opportunity to still bring to you the importance of getting your home inspected. With Georgia being a buyer beware state, I had to make sure, y'all, that you got this information, because sometimes, you purchase a home, some things happen, things go awry, buyers are ready to sue and go through litigation, but it's very important that you get your inspection done so that you have a dog in the fight. So I am going to share this video with you guys so that you can kind of see what he and I spoke about and get some more and additional information on inspection. So I'm going to start that right now. Good afternoon, Eddie. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Happy to be pre-recording this with you. We will miss you on Saturday, which is the official date of the home buyer webinar. But I felt it very necessary for you to speak to buyers about the importance of the home inspection. So I'll let you, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, about your company, how long you've been in the business, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Alrighty. Well, good afternoon. Happy New Year. Like you said, my name is Eddie Jones. I'm the owner of Good Life Inspection Services. I actually started doing inspections in South Carolina. I started back in 2018. I've been doing them in Atlanta since June of 2020. So we, for the most part, cover the greater Atlanta area. And pending certain circumstances, we'll go outside of that as far as Georgia's concerned. I'm licensed to do inspections in South Carolina as well. And we'll be adding North Carolina here to the map shortly, with a goal to obviously continue adding inspectors.
Okay, that's awesome. So you cover South Carolina, you cover Atlanta, because you certainly did, I think, an inspection for me in Calhoun, Georgia. And so you're adding North Carolina to the mix as well.
Correct.
All right, that is awesome. So tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, all of that good stuff.
As my friends would say, I'm from all over. So I'm originally born in New York, but I was raised in Florida. So I just tell people I'm from Florida. That's where I spent the most of my years. And then I went away to high school in Virginia, college in South Carolina. So I'm well versed on the East Coast. I've lived in Charlotte. It's one of my favorite cities. Hence why I want to get a North Carolina license, because it borders South Carolina. So I pretty much cover the East Coast from Virginia to Florida. I've lived in every state. So full time, obviously I do inspections, but I'm also a member of the South Carolina Army National Guard, and in a couple of months it'll be 11 years of service. So just taking it one drill at a time, as I like to say.
Okay, well, of course, thank you for your service. We appreciate you. As you assist military personnel in keeping our borders safe. We thank you for that. And 11 years, that seems like a long time. You don't even look that old, Eddie. I'm trying to figure this out.
Either I joined as a kid or I'm aging well.
Hey, take the latter. That's what I tell people. And I tell people, real estate is for 13 years. So, it's a lucrative business. Definitely, we need our home inspectors. I often tell my buyers, I say, Georgia is a buyer beware state. And when we say buyer beware, that basically means that, sellers, they complete a seller's property disclosure statement. But, human error, we can't remember everything, right? Sometimes we can't even remember what we came in the next room for. So in the state of Georgia, it is the buyer's responsibility to get an inspection. And that is how, if something unforeseen happens with the property that was not disclosed, it was not inspected, you have a leg to stand on. In the event that you have to go through litigation, in my 13 years of real estate, I've never had to go through it. But I can say that you've definitely been an asset to Trish Sells Atlanta, because you get the inspections out pretty quickly. Like once we're under contract, like within 24 to 48 hours, you're inspecting, which is great, because, those due diligence periods have gotten so small. So let's talk a little bit about why inspections are just so vital in a real estate transaction.
Definitely. And to, hit on a comment that you said that we do our inspections so quick, in this industry, I realize if we don't have a quick turnaround and get our reports back quick, then we won't be valued as much from realtors. That's just stuff. Because there's a lot of realtors inspectors that do turn down business because they don't like the last minute notification, or, they're not really, wanting to get after it. But the way I look at it, the entire industry is last minute. So,
so going to something with that, Eddie.
I may be pushing us hard over here, but no, I love it. I love the thrill. I work well. And then as far as the importance of an inspection, so in general, I think it's just important because most people that are buying a house have that eye of awe. They're just happy to be buying a home, especially if it's their dream home. They're not looking, they don't understand how a house is set up and how it's designed to operate and function. They're just caught up on, I really like it, the cosmetics, the layout, things like that. So an inspector, although not necessarily a code inspector, is trained to come and inspect and make sure certain system and components are set up the way they're supposed to. And there's a difference between set up and operate. Georgia is in particular state is because, like you mentioned, it's the buyers, get their own inspection, are required to get their inspection. However, Georgia doesn't, buyer beware. Georgia doesn't regulate home inspections, so it's a very saturated market. And believe it or not, I do a lot of, I do some, home buyer seminars. There's a lot of realtors that don't know that. Tell them you should be. And even if it's not good luck, whatever, you should never do business with an inspector if his credentials can't be verified by a reputable, which there's only two, by a reputable, company providing certificates to home inspectors. Because, like I said, Georgia doesn't regulate, so any Joe Schmo could be doing your inspection. You literally, file in the LLC and you're a home inspector. But all of these surrounding states are not on that page. You actually have to have some sort of formal training, education, and then pass a state exam.
Wow. Yeah, being in the business for as long as I have, I've come across a few inspectors, and as I previously told you, I worked with an inspector for just as long as I've been in real estate business, and he retired. And so I was, because of my knowledge, because he was certified and had his certificates, when I was looking and kind of interviewing other inspectors, that's one of the things that caught my eye with you. I said, okay, well, he's already credentialed. And you said it's two, I guess, different credentials. But
yes,
just as a rule of thumb, people should look at, those certifications. I didn't realize that you all had to take a state exam as well, in some of these other states, even though Georgia isn't regulated, but hopefully we will get regulated. I think part of that is because we have not had, we've had a lot of litigation, but I guess not enough for them to pass a law to regulate it. So tell us a little bit about just when you go into a home, your process, because typically how it works, buyers, is when I'm communicating with the other agent and it appears that we may be going under contract, I start reaching out to Eddie then. So if we are waiting on signatures, if you need to sign, if I need to sign, I'm generally touching base with Eddie. Hey, Eddie, I might be going up under contract. I just wanted to let you know because we're trying to get on his schedule. When you do a contract, as I would have explained, you have a due diligence period. The average due diligence period right now is between 3 and 5 days. So it's vital for Eddie to get out there as soon as possible. So that's why he is contacted as soon as possible. So that way, if he does have any space in his calendar for us, that he'll go ahead and stick us right in. So tell them a little bit about, after I call you, the process.
So, right, yeah, to your point, after you call, we just pretty much, we look at the calendar, we coordinate, and, whatever days that you say you needed within, I would like to think 99.9% of the time we'll find a way. We don't like turning down business over here. But once it's scheduled, then I'll go ahead and it depends on who's scheduling it, but we'll touch base with the client and figure out if they're going to be present or not, if the home is vacant, occupied, because all of those things matter. And then we'll get on site and start the inspection. And this is where the fun begins, because although I work with many realtors do bulk inspections for companies, I'm not everybody's favorite inspector. Because I try. I gotta stop saying try. I'm as thorough as possible, and obviously that goes against what some people are trying to do. But the way I look at it is,
Instagram.
when I had missed an issue or didn't note something that I wasn't required to, what was a problem, or the buyer didn't like how I noted it, I get the call, not the realtor. Or if the realtor does get the call, it still comes back to me, and I have to personally address that issue.
Right.
Granted, I've never been, sued, but obviously I've had cases where the homeowner or buyers have became the homeowners, moved in, and, something happened, and I had to be the one to walk through and break it down to them. And luckily, I've come out on top every time. But I'm going to be as thorough as possible. And for a buyer, if you don't get anything else out of this, this recording, the most important thing you could do with a home inspector is actually read the agreements you sign. Nobody ever reads them. If a realtor sends me a note to schedule inspection right now, and I send it out 2 seconds later, it'll be signed. But that agreement, my agreement, is several pages. They just sign and pay. Nobody reads it, so you don't understand exactly what the home inspector is looking for, what he does and does not inspect. We don't move things. We don't go out of our way to move things. So we start the process. It goes from the roof down to the foundation. Generally, depending on the setup, I move around the exterior twice, excuse me. I move around the perimeter twice, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm going to look at your HVAC unit to make sure it's properly set up, the age of it, things like that. I'm going to make sure your foundation is not crumbling. If the mortar needs to be repointed, if there's any shifting, visible shifting, things like that. There's a crawl space that's feasible to maneuver around. We'll put our knee pads on and get to it. There's an attic. We go in the attic and see what we can see. Make sure there's insulation. Make sure it's efficient insulation. And then we work our way down, from upstairs to downstairs. Some people ask, why do you do that? It's method to the madness. You work your way from top to bottom, so that way when you're running water, you're flipping all the lights. By the time you get to the bottom, if there was a lead from upstairs to downstairs, we should hopefully see it. If all the power is on in the house, now we know that the house is capable of handling the load if everything is on, things like that. So it's a non-invasive but yet thorough process that we complete. And then usually that same day, that report will go out to the agent and the buyer. And if they have any questions, obviously they reach back out.
Yes, absolutely. And there's been times I've had to reach out to you to clarify something that the seller, we may have requested from the seller and they needed clarification. So thank you for that. One of the things that buyers like to do is they like to come to the inspection. So tell us a little bit about your process concerning that, because of course you do want to meet with them at the inspection, but at the same time you have a job to do. So questions, you kind of navigate that for our buyers.
I personally don't have an issue with buyers coming to the inspection, but if they, wanted to know what worked best for me, I would tell them to come towards the end. And the only reason that is because when you follow myself or one of my inspectors around on their hip, literally the entire inspection, it throws us off. We get sidetracked and then you get shortchanged in the end. So if we miss something, you'll be calling us. It happens. We're only human. We're I trained and I taught my inspectors. We inspect the house a certain way. And so when they get sidetracked, they might forget to go back to it. And then, people like to have conversations. So we're supposed to be inspecting and you're talking about your life the whole time. I'm like, oh man, come on. I forgot this. When we leave a property, nobody ever wants to go back because they forgot to do something or didn't remember something. So I don't have an issue with it. There's just some clients that just want to be, that's fine. But if it was up to me, I would say, come on the back in that last 30 minutes when I'm wrapping up, and then we can sit down and go over the summary together. Some people, we go down it line by line. Some just want to know the highlights, whatever your preference is.
Well, that's awesome to hear and know. I generally communicate with my clients to go at the end. So that gives you a large window of undistracted time where you are going through the house. So kudos to that. So if you could tell us one of the, I guess, worst inspections that you've done, or one of the worst, like you went into a house and you were like, oh my God, like what is happening? You give us some details about that, y'all. And then we'll go to the best house you ever saw.
Well, for me, that's an easy question because I'm fortunate to receive inspections from in bulk. So some of these companies that you all may see on a daily basis on commercials, I'm fortunate to get for those, via bulk. So I see what we call, the utmost bando. I mean, is uninhabitable, falling over, completely molded. In Atlanta, out of the several hundred inspections I've done in the last year and a half, there's been maybe 3 houses I just literally couldn't stand in. So I just ran in there, took my pictures, did what I had to do, holding my nose and ran out of there and filled out the report later because it was so bad.
Wow.
Yeah, being an inspector is a humbling experience because a lot of people live in houses that would kill you. There's no middle. It's either making their immune system undefeated, unstoppable, or it's killing them.
Especially COVID being so prevalent. Now we have a new variant. But I saw a post. It was on Facebook, and it was the ducks that was in the house that were like. I mean, it was reminiscent of your dryer vent, but it was with just stuff. I was like, oh my goodness. Then even the mold situation. So, people may not know mold and mildew has a smell, y'all. Certain type of,
but it doesn't always smell. You can have it and still not smell something.
Really? Because I've heard of painting over mold. So
yeah, so let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
This is he touched the nerve.
Hitting all the points, y'all.
A lot of people don't realize. So I actually own a mold remediation company. I'm just so busy doing inspections every day. I don't market or do anything. So I'm certified and trained. I'm certified and trained by the best to do molds. So, that was my computer. So every day or often I get calls and people want to paint over mold, put bleach on mold, vinegar on mold, and then when they ask for my expert advice and I provide it, it's like it's a foreign language. If I go into a apartment complex, and a tenant, is at wits with the company, the leasing company, or whatever the case may be, because they're painting over their mold, and I'm telling them this is a process. Mold is really, it can't be detrimental to people's health. And to, a couple myths, bleach doesn't kill mold. Bleach discolors mold. Right? That is, unless a person is trained by the ICRC, that's the only real credible, number one organization. Then they may be shortchanging you. There's a reason why mold remediation just costs so much money, because a lot goes into it. When you have mold on a drywall, and homeowners or buyers want to move in but don't want to get the remediation, and they paint over it or bleach it, you may make it dormant, but take note that anytime mold has a food source, meaning the moisture and the drywall, in this case, organic material made from trees, it's going to grow again. So you can paint it, hide it. It may be dormant for a while, but it can become active again. The only way to physically remove mold from drywall is to physically remove the drywall.
Wow. So you're telling me, because I've seen people even spray some type of protein spray for mold. So you're telling me that even if they paint over it, they put bleach on it, they put this protein spray on it, that mold, it may be dormant, but it's still there.
It's still there.
Place the drywall to actually physically get rid of it.
Yes, they just encapsulated it. That's all they did. They encapsulated it, which will buy you some time if done right. But when that encapsulation is shot again and it's bubbling, the paint is peeling, it could be right back at it. But again, keep in mind that just because you encapsulate something, that really doesn't mean that the mold spores in the air and all of that are clear, because that's what's really important. Only a doctor can advise someone, of what the consequences of breathing in all that mold is, depending on the kind. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not planning impact on you, not impacting you.
And then mold has different colors, right?
Yeah, so mold is a fungi. It can be brownish, blackish, greenish, whitish. A lot of times in a crawl space, that fungal growth will be whitish. But yeah, it can vary in colors, but mostly black.
Okay. So mold is one of the disclosures that we make to buyers when they sign on to become a client with Trish Sells Atlanta. We have a slew of brochures that we send out. Mold is one of them. Lead-based paint, that's the other one. And I know, these are for homes that were built prior to 1978. And one of the things that I try to convey to buyers is that, their house may have been built, back then. Let's say we had a house that was built in 1965, but they gutted it down to the stud, they renovated it, all that good stuff. However, they still have to sign a lead-based paint exhibit just for liability purposes. Can you tell us a little about the lead-based paint and why that's one of the things that they have to sign?
So yeah, I know a little about lead, although I'm not a professional. That's actually one of the things I don't like to handle over here. Right. But lead definitely is important, even if the house is flipped. And I'll put asbestos in that as well, because they're both really of this in caliber. Obviously, beyond 1978, the U.S. was smart enough when the building codes got up to speed to realize, like, hey, this stuff is actually detrimental to our health. And once you, especially when you start, bumping it and knocking into it, it releases the particles in the air. Then it actually can be, of cancers. So that's why it is definitely important. And that's why when people ask me about it, I say call a professional.
Oh, God.
Call a professional. If you don't hire an abatement specialist, a lead specialist, you're shortchanging yourself. If you're talking mold, radon, things like that, I got you. But those guys are just as trained in that stuff as I am in my stuff. And I would never step on their toes because I think people, I'm not, it's funny when people buy houses. Another thing that I find real funny.
Mm-hmm.
I see people buy houses that cost several $100,000, and then when it's time to review the home inspection pricing or the prices for ancillary service, which lead, mold, asbestos, radon, all of that is an ancillary service. They always want to negotiate a price down. If you can make such an investment, especially if you're putting down 20%, even if it's 10, for a house that costs, we'll say at least $100,000. Let's, even if all your fees over here cost $1,000, wouldn't you think that was worth the investment for your health? Because that's what it boils down to. I look at it that way. It boils down to your health, because all of these mold, radon, asbestos, lead, 3 of them can cause like cancer, but they've all been proven to be a detriment to your health, depending on the person. But when it's time to get these inspections, some people don't want to pay.
Tell buyers about radon, because that's something that may not be as prevalent, and some of them may not, it may be their first time. Tell them a little bit about this whole radon gas thing.
Yeah, radon. Yeah, most people don't know what radon is, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's really just downplayed in the U.S. government in general, even though the EPA has it on its hit list. So radon is caused by the breakdown in uranium and the rocks and soils below your house. So normally, not so much with homes with slabs on grade, but it's possible. It could really happen anywhere. You stand a better chance in homes with basements and crawl spaces, because they'll have, obviously gaps in the foundation and things like that. So as the soil and rocks are breaking down, that gas is being released and it's going up. You can't smell it, you can't see it, but over time it's been proven to cause cancer. So radon is the number 1 cause of lung cancer in non-smokers, and number 2 cause of cancer in smokers. And if you pull up a radon map across the country, Georgia may not be that bad. However, Georgia does have hot pockets, especially here in Atlanta. I do radon inspections often, and there are a lot of homes out here that are above that EPA, what they call action level, 4 picocurie liters, where they recommend you install a mitigation system. So there's a lot of homes out here in Atlanta above, but again, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, you literally would never know you had it until it could be too late. If you live in a home for 15, 20 years and you end up with, lung cancer, and you ain't never smoked in your life, and then, they test your home and you find out you have radon, it's just, unfortunately, it should almost be mandatory by law to get a radon inspection with a home inspection.
That's interesting, but again, I guess that's why here in the state of Georgia, they make that buyer beware thing, something that we have to advise guys, our buyers. And really quickly, before we kind of run out of time, tell everyone the difference between like a code inspector for like a new construction versus what you actually do, and how, this intertwines together so that, buyers are successful. Because traditionally with new construction, having an inspection done wasn't as prevalent. However, now it has become more prevalent. So give us a little bit of information about that.
Yeah, definitely. So briefly, I think right now it's only about 78% or something like that of U.S. buyers that even get an inspection. But the difference between a code inspector and a general home inspector is a code inspector just shows up to your house to make sure that certain components of the house are built to the city standard. That's the construction of the roof, the electrical setup, things that pretty much the overall safety. That's all they care about. That's all they're
Keyword
focused
safety,
on.
guys.
Everything else in the house is not within their realm. A general home inspector is going to pretty much make sure from the roof down that everything is properly installed, but not necessarily. It's impossible for him or her to make sure that everything is operating correctly because they can't see everything when a house is complete. All right. So although it's not necessarily cosmetic heavy, a home inspector will tell you if there's a big hole in the wall in the master bedroom. A code inspector will walk right past that. He don't care about that. He's just making sure the roof is constructed the way it's supposed to.
Listen.
You have certain electrical standards. The house was on the right lot. The pipe to the street was good. He's just signing off on what the city expects the house to be built, based on the plans provided by that builder and architect. So the code inspector is just making sure they're up to city standards, and the general home inspector is making sure that really a house is up to your standard.
Gotcha. So, correct me if I'm wrong, the recommendation is that, you have a code inspector and you have a residential inspector that's going to look out for your best interest. Because I know typically, especially when it comes to different types of loans, which we have, awesome mortgage lender who's going to be talking about that, but they want to make sure that a home is safe, is sound, and that it's sanitary. And so basically the code inspector makes sure that, I guess, it's safe, but then you have to check for everything else just to make sure that, it is semi-habitable. When we have folks that are getting ready to purchase. And like you said, that percentage is very low when it comes to new construction, because people feel like, oh, it's brand new, nothing happens. But before we close out, tell people a little bit about, with new construction, what happens after you purchase this house within probably a year. Give them some examples of what can occur.
Yes, so definitely would recommend that new inspection constructions happen for sure, because there's no such thing as a perfect house. We do new construction over here time, and there's always a couple of issues. Now, to the builder's defense, I will say that when someone is getting a new construction inspection, the builder requires credentials to be provided. So I'll say that. And they look at it as, well, if y'all gonna hire an inspector to double check us, they're gonna at least be, have valid credentials and know what they're talking about.
That's right.
Which is also why some builders go above and beyond, and they require more than just a regular like international OSCE certificate. They require you to have what we call an ICC certificate from the International Code Council. So now we actually have to know a little bit about code to complete the inspection. So I've seen everything, I've seen mold in a brand new house, because a lot of people don't realize when they build a brand new house, spray it down. They spray the garage down and things like that. They hose it down or sometimes they come, they'll start building a house, the roof isn't complete and it rains.
Right.
That's not going to stop them from building. That material is all organic, right? It's real.
Right.
It's trees. So mold can grow, things can happen. But normally, and I hate to say it, but normally what happens, the people that choose not to get an inspection or they don't hold their builder accountable for the deficiencies noted before they sign and move in, it becomes very hard for them to get those issues fixed. So obviously the builder allots you a year to, get certain things corrected or, issues touched up, whatever the case may be. It becomes very difficult. I've seen people builder down for months trying to get a response, even take legal action, because although they signed and moved in and, they read the contract and said, oh, they'll fix it, no problem. I spoke with them. I always tell people, builders, they have a love them and leave them mentality, right? If you work in corporate America like I did before I went out on my own, you love them and leave them. The builder loves you. They love you, while they build that house. But the moment you sign, they're out of Dodge. They're not in. They're in the business of building and moving on. Especially this time of the year. Well, excuse me. December, because they were trying to get as many houses off the books as possible. Not too many people have taken my personal advice that they asked for, but I know they wish they did when I said, make sure you get your deficiencies corrected before you sign. That's the best thing you can do, because the moment you sign, heaven forbid you had something serious going on. You'll be going back and forth with the builder for forever. And that's if you get a response.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot to think about, and I'm sure our buyers are going to have some additional questions, Eddie. So let me get some of your information up on the screen. If a buyer has a question for you, what is a good email address for you? I can't hear you. Welcome back, guys. I have Eddie's information. I can see you, but I can't hear you on the screen. And let me stop sharing it because we started having technical difficulties at the end. But he gave just a wealth of information. I am going to Instagram as promised. I promise y'all I'm going to upload this video because his video is vital. I also have a YouTube channel. So it's going to be on the YouTube too. I'm going to have it in the home buyer seminar. I'm also going to upload it as a separate video because I feel that you guys need to know this information so that you are armed with the knowledge and information that's needed. And so his information is Eddie Jones with Good Life Inspection Services. His telephone number is 404-490-0681. His email address is Eddie, EDDIE, at goodlifeinspectionservices.com. Eddie, EDDIE, at goodlifeinspectionservices.com. It is on the screen on Facebook, so if you want to jot it down, I'll make sure that I put it in the chat as well so that you have it. But we are going to move on because we have our mortgage broker that is about to come in and talk to you guys about the lending process. And if you have any questions, I'm asking that you go ahead and put them in the comments so that I can put them on the screen for him to answer and we can make the best use of our time. We have about 45 more minutes. And I want to make sure that we maximize the time. So without further ado, I want to welcome my mortgage broker. This is like Mud and Jeff, what they say, 2 peas in a pod. We definitely try to help people. We understand that everybody's credit profile does not look the same. And so we put forth our best efforts to help everybody. So without further ado, introducing Reginald Masters. Good morning, Reginald. Can't hear you.
Good morning. Thanks for the introduction. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Hey, I'm glad to be on this on this webinar and everything, and I hope everybody is enjoying their new year so far. It's gonna be a great year for everybody. So
It is.
I'm claiming that.
Yes, it is. I'm looking forward. I'm excited to everything, that's happening this year. Clients have questions. At first, everybody thought the real estate market was gonna collapse. They were like, "Oh, I'll wait to buy a house because the prices are gonna go down." And not gonna happen.
Right.
So what are you hearing on your end about just the mortgage industry?
Yeah, so I don't believe there's gonna be like a repeat of 2007, 2008, anything like that. But I will say that inflation is affecting, I believe, almost every industry, and it is affecting us too as well. From a standpoint of interest rates, I know everybody's been talking about interest rates and things like that as of late, because there's been talk in the industry that rates are going to go up in 2022. So that's what everybody's been saying. I mean, nobody really knows, but the thought is that rates are going to go up to put inflation in check, quite frankly. So as rates go up, it's going to suppress, the appreciation of homes. So, all this appreciation that we're getting, with higher interest rates, you can afford less of a home, right? Because your payment will be higher. So that's really what it's probably going to be designed to do. I've read a few articles where the Fed is going to increase interest rates at least 3 times next year, or this year is 2022 now. This year. So whenever the Fed increases the rate, it's not really necessarily the mortgage rate, but it does impact the mortgage rate, which if it goes up, it's obviously going to go up because the cost of money is higher.
Yeah.
So with that said, if you need to refinance or anything like that, you need to go ahead and do it now, early on in the year. All right. If you're looking to purchase, you need to get off the fence. If you're able to purchase, you need to go ahead and purchase, because what's going to happen is we don't think that we don't actually think that the values are going to go down. We just think the appreciation rate of increase is just going to slow down.
Yes.
So homes are going to still be probably, and this is an educated guess or a professional guess, I would say. We don't believe that the values are going to go down in 2022 or anytime soon, quite frankly.
Oh.
But interest rates may go up, which you'll be able to afford less of a home. So get off the fence. Let us get you pre-approved. Let Trish, find you a home. So we need to get this done sooner rather than later, because we want you to be able to get what you want to get and not have to settle for something that you don't really like. So, so just keep that in mind. As rates go up, I've already seen them go up. I mean, I've been pricing loans over the last week, and I've been seeing them go up. I mean, I priced the FHA loan last night. It was in the 3s. And it was at a 650 score. It was at 3s at par, meaning it doesn't cost anything to get that rate. Like, you don't have to buy it down or anything. So just keep that in mind there. Now,
and just to let the buyers in on a little secret, right now, between really December and I'll say March, find a home. Because once the spring selling season begins, which is usually in April, it is like the Hunger Games of real estate. So what I have seen, I've had other realtors call me, Trish, buyers financing fell through. Do you have any buyers? I see homes coming back on the market because financing fell through. So I need you buyers. I need you to trust this process and be diligent. I am sending out the same homes, especially for my buyers that I have now. I get your emails too. I don't just send them to you and never look at them. I'm looking at them too. So if you see a home right now between January and March, the competition is not as stiff. I need you guys to go ahead and nail down these homes, because especially for my folks that's been looking for over 9 months, yes, we have people that have been looking for that long. The prices are going up. The average cost for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, depending on the area, is upward of $300,000 to $350,000 plus. I've even seen some that were $350,000, y'all. So I need you to jump on it. Look fervently. You know, I'm sending you the updates. If you ride past something, send me the address. I'm more than happy to assist you. But as Reginald said, when we get into the spring season, which is traditionally the selling season, it is going to be the Hunger Games once again. So right now, while everybody is trying to get prepared, their New Year's resolution was to purchase a home. They may be waiting on their tax income refund for down payment and all of that. If you have been looking and you've already been pre-approved, right now is going to be your best bet, because when spring comes, appraisal gaps, additional earnest money, you have people who are literally draining their 401k. So I need you, if you can get pre-approved today, to go ahead and start this process so that you can get a head start on this market.
Right.
That's original.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on what she said, you know, the different kind of loan programs, you know, that you want to look at is really, you know, FHA, VA, conventional. I don't think we do too much USDA, but you want to look at basically the conventional FHA and VAs are going to be really your more traditional mortgages. Now, in this market, though, sellers like to accept conventional offers. So if you can get approved for conventional, there you go. Yeah, all right. So I always like to tell people always ask this question: is it a good time to buy a house right now? I say it is if you're ready to buy a house, if you're financially ready to buy a house, because you got to think about it. 10 years ago, where were rents? Where were mortgages? Where were the price of homes? Mm-hmm. So you got to think now, okay, 10 years from now, you know, where is rent going to be? Where is, you know, the price of homes going to be? It's not going to look like how it is now. Yeah. So it's better to do it now versus to wait. But like I said, in terms of loan programs, we want to really try to get you in a conventional first. We have a conventional first policy here now with this type of market. And then we look at the FHAs, VA. I mean, we always try to, you know, if it's a veteran, we're going to look at VA first. Yeah. But for the most part, we still want to try to look at conventional because that's the best way to get your offer accepted. Some of the other things, as far as for entrepreneurs, we have like bank statement programs, 1099 programs. We even have a program if you're going to put 20% down. It's like a no income program. So we do have those non-traditional type mortgages. They call them non-qualified mortgages because they're not going to the GSEs like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, stuff like that. I don't want to get too far into that, but we do have those kind of one-off type of loans to help a self-employed or a person with a non-traditional situation get into a loan. And then a lot of people always ask about down payment assistance. Mm-hmm. So down payment assistance, we do have down payment assistance, and we're willing to do down payment assistance for you so you can get the 100% financing. But like I told you earlier, rates are going up. Generally, down payment assistance programs have higher rates already over traditional mortgages, most of them. So you got to look at it like, okay, if I have a 401k over here or something, or if I can get a gift from a parent or a relative, would it be better to do that versus get down payment assistance? So, you know, I don't want to make that decision for you, but you have to look at it that way sometimes because down payment assistance programs can be difficult at times. Sometimes you can't close them as quick, and it doesn't look as attractive to a seller whenever Trish is putting in an offer. So you have to keep those things in mind. So you may have to sit on the sidelines a little longer if you're using down payment assistance. Mm-hmm. So I just want to touch on those things. I told Trish I wasn't going to be too long-winded. I'll take some questions, or if you have any questions that you want me to address, Trish, I can do that. But you just let me know.
I have this too. You know, I try to help our buyers with this information right here. the do's and don'ts of when they have applied for a mortgage. And I'm going to take your information off briefly so that they can get the full essence of this. But this is the thing, that we run into when we are having buyers that are getting pre-qualified for loans. And we kind of run into these things about once you have applied for a mortgage loan, I put together the 10 commandments. So part of when I do my buyer consultation to help you guys out, because we see so much stuff in this industry. Just talk a little bit about the do nots when it comes to when you have applied for a mortgage. And we can start with number 1. Do not change jobs, become self-employed, or quit your job.
Right. And the reason why you don't want to do that is because it really changes your income. Now, changing jobs to become self-employed, and if you've never been self-employed, that's a real deal killer right there. So keep your job until you get in a house. Keep your W-2 job until you get in the house. Once you get in the house, then you can look at becoming self-employed, or just start the self-employment on the side and kind of get it going, but keep your job. That's what you want to do. Now, in terms of changing jobs, it really just depends. Like if you're going to change jobs to make more money, that is not necessarily a bad thing. That can be actually a good thing, but it's best to talk to the lender about it and see how it's going to affect it. Because, for example, if you're under contract and you're getting paid hourly, then we may have to have 30 days of pay stubs, and then that's going to push your closing back. So you got to make sure, you talk to your lender and see how it's going to actually affect you. Now, if it's a salary job, sometimes that can be okay, because especially if you're making more money and it's salary, the income calculation for us is not hard. We can use the salary amount, but when it's hourly is when it kind of becomes a little tricky. So
number 2, thou shalt not buy a car, truck, or van, or you might have to live in it.
Right. Yeah. So if you the thing is you don't want to get no new credit, quite frankly. But buying a car or a truck or something like that is really going to hurt your debt to income ratio. So again, you want to talk to your lender before you do anything in terms of adding new debt. But most of the time, this is a very bad idea to do this. So do not go buy a car. I think I made a post one time, buy the house before you buy the car. That's like law right there. So, buy the house before you buy the car. So
Number 3, thou shalt not use credit cards or charge cards excessively or let your accounts fall behind.
Right. And you don't want to do this because if your credit report expires, we have to rerun your credit. And if your payment on your credit card is higher, well, voila, you have a higher debt to income ratio now. Even though sometimes we can fix things like that by paying it down, but it makes it a little bit more difficult, and you want a smooth process doing it. This is a big purchase. This is a stressful process. So you want to try to make it as least stressful as possible. So don't go buy nothing excessive. Don't go buy the furniture yet until you actually get in the house, until you actually close, then go buy the furniture.
And I tell people, because they say they start getting advertisements for rooms to go, and I don't know if the companies are selling the information, but I'm like, hey, you're not going to have a room to go to if you go and buy that furniture and you get that credit card. Right. Or they'll go to Brand Smart and they're ready to get the Brand Smart credit card. I'm like, no, do not do that. Be smart.
When your loan is in closing, they run another soft pull on you, whether you know it or not. And if any new debt comes up, you have to explain it. We have to add it in the debt to income ratio. So even though it looks like they're not running your credit anymore, it is being run on soft pulls kind of throughout the process. So.
Yes, and I told them especially that 10-day period before closing. That's like, I call it hell week,
Right.
You gotta make sure, if you done something new, you got some splaining to do, y'all. So That's why we're going through this, so that you know, and we know that we told you. Thou should not spend money you have set aside for closing. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, please do not do that, and especially like in a rising interest rate environment. We may send you a pre-approval letter with 3.2. Let's just say we send a pre-approval letter with a 3% interest rate, right? And you really need that 3% interest rate to qualify for the house. If your rate goes up, then you don't qualify because you're at the top of your budget, right? So we got to keep you at a 3% interest rate, but it may cost you, right? So your closing costs may go up. So if you don't have the money to close, and sometimes you have to have reserves for it to even be approved, then you just shot yourself in the foot. So try to be as frugal as possible when you're going through this process. You got to put food on the table and everything like that. But we need those balances to stay around the same pretty closely, until you close the loan.
Absolutely. Number 5, thou shalt not omit debts or liabilities from your loan application. Let's talk about it.
Right. So, you might have somebody that can clean up credit, right? Or they can do something where credit doesn't show up on your credit report. Well, trust me, these banks have ways of finding out. They have things like fraud reports and LexisNexis and things like that, where they can pull stuff that doesn't necessarily show on your credit. If you had maybe like a foreclosure or something in another state, some states don't report it, immediately and things like that. So, those things show up even if you get it off your credit report. So you just need to be careful of that. If it's something, come forward with the lender, because we don't want you to get so far down the process, you're past the financing contingency period, you're past the due diligence period, and now the seller gets to keep your earnest money because we can't get the loan done.
That's correct. And you can't get upset with myself or Reginald if you lose your earnest money because you omitted a debt or liability from your mortgage application, y'all. I want to make that completely clear, because in 13 years I have not lost anybody's earnest money. But that's because we use the honor system and we tell the truth. Listen, it's things that you're going to talk to Reginald about that you are not going to talk to me about, because here's why. He has a disclosure. So certain financial things, listen, Trish don't even want to know. I want you to tell Reginald.
Right.
Because he's going to tell you what to do. If you say, well, Trish, I got a little issue with something, my question, my answer is, that's a Reginald question.
Right.
You're going to hear me say that often if you work with us. You can't, certain questions about the contract and inspections and the house and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to financing, I'm going to tell you that is a Reginald question. So he's not going to disclose anything to me unless you give him permission. So understand that we work together. We have 2 separate positions, but we work together. But you, please talk to him. Please talk to your lender. Even if you don't use Reginald, talk to them, because what you don't want to come back to is that potential mortgage fraud. So we use the honor system, Scouts honor. We want to make sure that we are telling the truth, so that way we can help him help you. We already touched on thou should not buy furniture, but go ahead, Reginald. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I want people to be comfortable enough to come to me and be like, hey, this is truly what the situation is. Now let me know what I need to do. I mean, I'm not gonna do nothing illegal or nothing like that. But I do want to know what's really kind of going on, because until the file is actually in the underwriter's hand, then I'm not gonna, I'm not trying to I want to make sure that I put you in a good situation. Let me just say that. So I want you to be totally truthful on everything you're trying to do, so I can let you know what the rules truly are, so you can make an informed decision based on that.
Absolutely. We do have a question from YouTube. What if you had to buy a car? Can you still apply for a mortgage several months later?
You can, but again, it's gonna affect your debt to income ratio. I get it. You know, if you have to get back and forth to work, you had somebody totaled out your car, you had the car paid for, and you have to get a car. I get it. You may have to like just talk to me first and see kind of what the numbers would be if you were to get the car, because if you're gonna purchase within 30 to 60 days, you might can borrow your mom's other car or something. You know what I mean? So we just have to kind of talk through the situation. Every situation is going to be different. You may have enough to absorb a car payment. I don't really know that yet until I see your situation. It's just those situations to where you already have a high debt to income ratio where that'll be a real problem. So it's best to let us kind of see what it would be, and then we can go from there. So everybody's situation is going to be kind of different.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. I just replied back to you, Crystal. Thank you so much for your question. As we kind of dig through, these 10 commandments when applying for a mortgage loan. We talked about furniture already. Don't rooms to go, American Signature. Do not do it until after your closing. Number 7, thou shalt not originate any new inquiries into your credit.
Right. So again, like once you get pre-approved, once you have your lender picked out, right, you don't want to go get your credit run again, because you have to explain every inquiry on your credit. It's not something that'll necessarily kill your deal, but it can't hurt it, depending on what you do. But you don't want to get new inquiries and everything like that, because what's going to happen is, it's just going to be more paperwork for you and for me and for everybody. So
absolutely. Number 8, thou shalt not make any cash deposits into your bank account.
Right. So this is huge right here. And this is something that I always try to tell people up front. I mean, I know it's your money. I know you can do what you want to do, but you have to listen to us so that you won't have a headache at the end of the process. So generally, for example, for like on an FHA loan, whenever you deposit over 1% of whatever the home value is, then you have to source that deposit. And if it's cash, you can't use cash as a source deposit. So we have to back that out of your assets. So you may have enough to close, numbers wise, but we can't use it in qualifying. So a lot of times what we have to do is we have to get that money, if it's cash, we have to get that money into your bank account in an acceptable way. And I could talk about that for an hour, right? So for different situations, but what you need to do is you need to call me so we can talk about how to get it in your account without it being a problem for getting the loan done. So that is huge. Do not deposit cash. Another thing is don't go get a loan to put into your account too as well. That is a problem too as well. So you can't use borrowed money for a loan to get a mortgage. The only way you can do that is if it's like you borrowing against the 401k, borrowing against a financial asset. That's the only way you can truly really do that. So those are questions that for your particular situation, you want to talk to the lender about it before you go do it. Don't do it and then talk to the lender. Talk to the lender and then let them advise you on how to do it.
Yes. Number 9. And I've seen this happen often. People get into an uproar with their bank. I've been with them for 50 years and they done made me mad. So I'm going to close my account and I'm going to go open a new bank account. No, ma'am, and no, sir. Please, not in the middle, because one of the components that you have to send your mortgage broker, whether it's Reginald or somebody else, are your bank statements.
Right. And again, and it goes back to what we just said just a minute ago, right? Say, for instance, you get mad at Wells Fargo and want to go open up something at Navy Federal. You take out all the cash at Wells Fargo. You take out cash and go deposit cash at Navy Federal. Well, now we have a problem, right? Yes. So it's best to, it's best to just keep the bank until you close, because we generally have to have 2 bank statements anyway, and they want to see where the funds are coming from and all of that. So if you close it, you can't even get the information no more. So yeah, just don't make any financial moves until after you close.
Yes. And number 10, having a young adult myself, I can understand how your heart may go on and out to, someone that you love and they want you to co-sign for a loan. But ma'am and sir, please do not do it when you are trying to purchase a home. Tell little Junior and little Boo Boo, they gonna have to wait until after you purchase this house. You cannot co-sign.
Yeah,
Reginald.
Please don't co-sign, and please know who you are co-signing for. Just from a life perspective, because your credit is just as important as your health and things. It's not as important. Let me not say that, but it's up there. You know what I mean? So co-signing is gonna hurt your debt to income ratio, especially if it's not 12 months and they've been paying it for 12 months. We have to still use it in your debt to income ratio and things like that. So yeah, just be smart about that. Do not co-sign for anybody. Do not make any financial moves. All right. Don't make any financial moves once you get pre-approved. Just stand still for a second until you get your home closed.
That is correct. And if you guys want a copy of this, I'm going to put this up on the screen, put our email address up. It is info@TrishSellsATL.com. info@TrishSellsATL.com. I'm more than happy to send you guys a copy of this so that you have it in writing. I do provide this to my buyers, just as a good rule of thumb, because, working together, if it's something that, Reginald may miss or I may miss, this is one of the things that keeps us accountable, to the industry, to one another, and to our clients, because it's easy for folks to kind of say, well, I didn't know, and all of this. No, we telling y'all right now that you cannot do some of these things. And so if you all have any questions for Reginald, you want to pick his brain, you have any questions for me, now will be the time for you to put them. Instagram, you can put it in the comment section. Facebook, YouTube, please place it in the comment section so that we can answer your questions about, whatever real estate related. If you want to ask Reginald's he's a veteran in the industry, y'all. He went from underwriting loan process and now he's a broker. So that wealth of information is vital. I call him sometimes because, I don't know. I get confused. People call me and say, well, Trish, what if such and such happened? I'm like, call Reginald, because that's a Reginald question. So if y'all have any comments, questions, place them in the comments. I can see them. I have the comment section up now. Crystal asked one question about the slow months of real estate for looking for a house. So this market hasn't been slow by any means. I went on vacation on December 23rd, and I came back in the office on January 5th. But prior to that, I had not taken a vacation for almost 2 years. And when COVID first started, we had to kind of double down. We had to figure out what was going on. And so everything went completely virtual. We had to kind of restructure all of that. Then the showings, trying to stay 6 feet apart and safe with masks and all of that, was another dynamic. So I had literally been working through an entire pandemic and had not taken any time off. And so right now, inventory, we had a team meeting on last Tuesday. And while inventory, we're thinking it's going to pop on the market about January 15th. As I told you before, my clients, when I send them properties, I receive the email as well. I'm seeing properties hit the market back to back to back. So the inventory is coming, and I would advise, because I have been seeing back on the markets, I have been seeing buyer financing fall through and been getting those emails and those calls, that you all jump on this thing. Now, if you can get pre-approved, I have Reginald's information on the screen. You got his number and you got his email address. I can send, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put in the chat the link to his mortgage application. So that way, if you want to get started on this thing, you can go ahead and get started and get a head start, because traditionally our season is it starts in April. And so once that hits, you're going to have to compete with every single buyer that, one, like I told you, once I think IRS is accepting the income tax returns at the end of the month. And so once that money starts coming out, they're going to want to purchase homes. And so your best bet is to make sure that you go ahead and do this process now. If you have money in the bank, if you have access to your 401k, go ahead and purchase your home now prior to March, because after that, it is going to be the Hunger Games of real estate, y'all. And I'm just saying that, I'm being very honest with you guys when I say that. The link is also on the screen for Reginald's application if you want to jot it down, if you want to screenshot it, and all of that stuff is on the screen. But it is the Hunger Games, so now is the time. Do you know where the rates are right now as of today, Reginald?
Yeah, so the rates, depending on the occupancy, and when I say occupancy, I mean primary residence, second home, investment property. Also, depending on, the type of program, conventional FHA, VA, or some kind of bank statement program, they can range anywhere from and then it also depends on the term too. Like 15-year fixed is going to be under it's going to be in the twos, right? Maybe even low twos, below 2.5%. Then once you start going into the 20-year to the 30-year fix, you may be looking at a range between the high twos if you have really good scores to to the bank statement stuff that could go in the fives, right? 5s to 6s. So it's really depending on your situation, what you're trying to do, the term. So it's kind of really hard to really say that, to kind of, give, just one rate to what many possibilities could be. So.
Got it. So let's see what else we had on here in the comments. And I had another question from Kia, but I think it was more a related question. She asked this question. She was asking about, she said, in this market, it's incredibly difficult to negotiate because of the demand and lack of supply. She was talking about repairs, such as possible mold removal when putting in an offer on a home. And I conveyed to her, because I understand that some repairs are required by the bank. So you're not going to be able to get your loan approved unless the seller completes these repairs. But I basically let her know, yes, there is like a lack of inventory, but that's why I am expressing right now, when you see something come on the market and you like it, jump on it. On it, because as soon as it hits, within 24 hours, you're talking about, if they have 30, now they're not even doing 30-minute increment showings. They're doing like 10-minute increment showings so that they can maximize the time. So let's say somebody showed a house for 8 hours and they did 10-minute increments. That's 80 showings, y'all. So those 80 showings are going to bring at least 50 offers. Okay. And so that's why you want to jump on it as quickly as you can and be serious about it. And unfortunately, in this market, it is a seller's market. So they aren't doing a lot of repairs. And I'm not saying that they are not, but typically if they know that it's a bank required repair, their agent is smart enough to tell them, hey, if it's bank required, get it done. But if you're asking for like cosmetic stuff, so to answer her question, if the bank doesn't require the mold remediation, then the seller may not do it. You know, sometimes sellers have done it in the past just in good faith, but it's like, am I required to do it? That's why you see a lot of homes as is. So that's when you have to make a decision to say, well, this is something that I know I need to pay for out of my pocket. That's something that can be done. Or if the seller says, well, you know what, I'll do it, but I'll do it post-closing. You know, to make sure you're going to close on it. That's something that's admissible too. But help them understand a little bit about with the repairs, the mandatory repairs from the lender, how that works.
Right. And this goes back to why I said that we want to try to go for a conventional offer first anyway. Because conventional is going to be a little bit more lenient on the type of repairs that need to be made.
Yes,
now, once you know, if you go with FHA or VA, there, you know, those repairs have to be done. Yes. Certain things, it's going to be a little bit more stringent when you have the government type programs like that.
Right.
So that's why sellers would like for you to have a conventional offer. Not only that, we can usually get conventional done a little quicker too anyway. Yep. Reason being is because many more appraisers can do conventional appraisals versus FHA appraisals and VA appraisals. So we can get an appraisal a little bit more quicker, all right, with conventional. All right. So you have the fact that, you know, the appraisal items aren't going to be as stringent as, you know, like the government loans, FHA and VA and stuff like that. And, you know, just multiple things. You can get it done quicker, appraisals and stuff like that. So, you know, that's why we want to try to go with the conventional. Now, the bank is going to require, if the appraisal comes back subject to completion or subject to repairs, those have to be done in order for you to close. The only way to get around that is if we flip it to a renovation loan, if you qualify for a renovation loan, and then you can get them done with a renovation loan. Now you have to do at least $5,000 plus worth of repairs to do a renovation loan. Sometimes you can do what they call an escrow holdback if the repairs are less than $5,000. I've done that sometimes too before. Okay. So say for instance, there's some little things that need to be done, and what they put on the appraisal is a cost to cure, right? So the appraiser is going to say, okay, it's going to cost an estimated $2,500 to get this cured. All right. Either you, the seller, or somebody can put the money in escrow, have someone, you can still close on time, have a contractor go out and fix it, and then we have to get an inspection, and then we can go ahead and, you know, close out the loan in post-closing, what they call post-closing. So there's ways to do it. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to do that. And we generally, you know, don't have to really do that as much on a conventional loan because some of those things are going to be required to be fixed.
Absolutely. And that's a good, you know, those are good options because sometimes people are just like, okay, I want this house, but what are my options? And so that's something that is vital that, you know, people know, especially with the conventional and the FHA. It's tough. And we work with investors when we see the going get tough. You know, we have, you know, other investors that we work with that can get you to the closing table, but it comes with a cost. And so, you know, we have to make sure that as the people representing you, that you can sustain it. One of the programs that I work with is Ribbon. And if you have an FHA loan, you cannot immediately buy that house back from Ribbon. You got to wait 91 days. And so, you know, it's a lot of moving parts when it comes to this because we understand that everybody can't get approved for conventional. And so that's why we just have other things in place to help and assist you guys with that. I have Reginald's information. I put it in the comment section. And I'm in the comment section on both YouTube and Facebook. Reginald, if you want to give your information out for Instagram.
Yeah, so it's just basically my name at Reginald Masters. That's my Instagram. Or the company one is at Masters Home Mortgage. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't be on Instagram and stuff that much. And what I've noticed is if you send me a message, if I'm not your friend, it goes into some like little black hole unless I just actually go in there. So if you send me a message and I don't respond in a day, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I probably hadn't went in there and looked to see if I had any hidden messages. I don't know why they do that.
The best method of contact, I have it too. They have like 3 different boxes now, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know this was going to be. But what would be the best point of contact for you?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is call me or email me. Okay. I accept text messages, but I got to tell you, I get so many text messages, and I try not to read it if I'm not ready to really kind of respond to it. Yep. Because once I mark off of it, I don't see it no more, and my messages are like just full. So I have to go, especially like if it's like one of those group messages, I'm really not gonna be able to find it. So so the best way is really to email me. If you email me, then I know I'm gonna get back to you because I can keep it marked unread until I actually get back to you. But that's probably the best way. Either call, email. You can text me. But if you have to follow up with me, I won't think that you're bugging me. You just have to follow up with me on the text sometimes. So
thank you so much for that. I have YouTube and Facebook and Instagram in a moment. I do have Reginald's information up on the screen. His email is Reginald, his first name, at mhmteam.com. Reginald at mhmteam.com. Let me make sure we have clear all of our comments, all of our questions. I think we have. I think we have clear all of them. And if we have all hearts and minds clear, I don't see anything on Instagram. Thank you so much, Reginald, for always bringing such value to this webinar. It's something that I do every year. It's posted on YouTube. I send it around on different platforms. This will be uploaded to the podcast, y'all. We do have a podcast now that, we have listeners and subscribers that actually go back and they listen to this information. So I want to also say your telephone number for those who are on the podcast. If you need to give Reginald a call, his number is 470-433-0702, 470-433-0702 if you need to contact him. But thank you so much for being of such great value to Trish Sells Atlanta, and we just look forward to continuing to be, partners, in real estate as we continue to just help people. That's our main goal. Right. One of the things when I am speaking with lenders is that they understand that people that come to me, they don't always have a stellar credit score. They need guidance. And right. So I'm thankful, to be in partnership with you and in business with you to help people who, they may not in the beginning could have purchased a house, but we got them to the finish line. And that is what this is all about. So thank you so much for taking the time out on a Saturday morning to chat with us, bring your wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure you will have some questions and have people calling you from this. I'm going to chop it up on YouTube and all that good stuff so we can get all the information out and put you on TikTok. So,
that'll be a new one. Well, I really appreciate it, Trish. I appreciate you and your partnership too as well. I mean, you have been very valuable to me and our business too as well. So yes. I really appreciate you. I love this industry. I love being in partnership with you and helping these families get into homes and just, us doing our assignment from God. So I really appreciate it.
There it is. I appreciate you, and we'll be chatting because I'm sure I have a question in the next day. So you hang in there. Happy Saturday.
All right. Same to you. Have a good one, everybody.
See you. Wow, guys, what a wealth of knowledge and information that we have just received on today. For everybody that hung in there, I know the average attention span of people is probably about 15 minutes when it comes to videos. But because we're not able to really do this in person, I wanted to make sure that you still receive the knowledge that is necessary when it comes to purchasing a home. Now, if you have any questions, that we did not talk about today. If you have any questions for Reginald, if you have any questions for Eddie, if you have any questions for our closing attorney, our legal eagle, Nicole Whalen, who she was under the weather today, so she was not able to make it, please send us an email, info@trishsellsatl.com. That is INFO at Trish, TRISH, sales, SELLSATL.com. Send us your questions, send us your comments, send us your feedback, how we can improve this. While I would love to cut this down and make it shorter, that is what our weekly real estate updates are for. But when we get into the webinars, when we are giving you that wealth of information, it is designed to be about 2 hours. That's why I said grab your coffee, grab your snacks, so that you can have an opportunity to take notes and to ask questions. I will be doing a seller webinar in February. So if you know somebody who is thinking about selling their home, I want you to get the word out to let them know that in February, likely 1 month from now, I will be hosting a seller webinar so that when we put your home on the market, you're going to get maximum value, if not plus last year. This was the first year, y'all, that this has happened. But last year, every single seller that sold with me, and I'm not saying this to be braggadocious, but I am telling you the results. When you come to this webinar and you do things the way that they need to be done, all of my sellers were 3-figure profit sellers. All of my sellers on last year were 3-figure profit sellers, y'all. So if it does not make dollars, it does not make sense. We put your home on the market in such a way that you are going to get maximum value. So just keep that in mind. Next month, I am also hosting a seller webinar. So if you've been on the fence about selling your home, let's talk about it. We're going to open up the questions, the concerns, all of those things, even down to how we structure showings so that we have maximum showings, but minimum people coming in and out, because I do understand that it's COVID. You want a COVID, Omicron, and it's another variant, but we want to keep your family safe. We want to keep you sanitized. So we will talk about all of that on next month with our seller webinar. So get the word out. If you had any questions about the webinar on today, please send us an email at info@trishsellsatl.com. I appreciate every single person who tuned in to the webinar on today. To my folks that RSVP, I put your name in the hat for a drawing. It was a grand prize drawing. So we had about 7 people now to RSVP. So those are the people whose name went into the hat for the grand prize drawing, y'all. And so that grand prize is a $25 Amazon gift card. And that gift card is going to go to Miss Crystal Camp. Yes, Crystal RSVP. And she showed up to the webinar. Those were the 2 conditions. You had to RSVP and attendance was mandatory. So congratulations, Crystal, who RSVP'd, and she will be the recipient of our sponsored $25 Amazon gift card. Congratulations, Crystal. As always, please like our Facebook page, like and share this video. Tag people who want to become homeowners. Listen, Trish believes in you. I believe that everybody has a capacity to be a homeowner. And even if we have to go through a journey and a process, listen, we are going to do that. I have that commitment from my vendors. That's why I work with them, because we are committed to the people. So listen, tag, like, and share. If that's a goal, if that's a New Year's resolution, when you get, your funds, if you have to clean some stuff up on your credit, I have an amazing credit specialist who is also a realtor who works specifically with clients who want to purchase a home. So if you need that information, please feel free to email us, info@trishsellsatl.com. Make sure that you like our Facebook page. Just type in Trish Sells Atlanta, so that way you're getting all of our updates. follow us on Instagram. Hey, Instagram. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Instagram was on here, y'all. So thank you so much. We had about 15 people to join us on Instagram. So thank you so much. Follow us on Instagram. That's not the right Instagram. The right one is at TrishSellsATL.com. At TrishSellsATL.com. That is my handle for most of my social media. On Twitter is also at TrishSellsATL.com. On Twitter, we are also on TikTok, y'all. And my handle is, of course, at TrishSellsATL. At TrishSellsATL on TikTok, at TrishSellsATL on TikTok. If you need to call or text me, my telephone number is 404-819-4495. 404-819-4495. And I will also put the email address back up here just in case you need to screenshot it. You did not catch it. It is info@Trish Sells, and that is SELLS, not the SALES. It is Trish Sells, SELLSATL.com. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us this morning to get this wealth of information provided by our mortgage broker, provided by our inspector, and me going through with you the home buying process. If you have any questions, like I said, on the closing attorney end, please send me an email and I'll be sure to get that over to her. We are wishing her and praying a speedy recovery as she fell ill prior to this webinar. I'm grateful for everybody who supports Trish Sells Atlanta, who refers us business. I have referral partners in every state. This is Trish Sells Atlanta, Keller Williams, Buckhead, worldwide. So understand that even if you have a family member who may be in another state, they may be either moving to Georgia or moving away, we have referral partners in every state. I have people that I can physically call on my phone. Hey, I have somebody for you, and they are going to give you the same white glove service that I provide to you as well. So if you are somebody that you know, your family member, your coworker, your church member, you know, your little league coach's friend, we would love to assist them with purchasing a home. As I said before, you know, people talk about the slow season. This real estate market has not slowed down. But I will advise you that if you are looking to purchase a home, that do it right now. Do it now before the selling season starts in April, where you are going to be up under so much competition. I am seeing inventory trickle in, so don't let people tell you that it's no inventory. Don't let people tell you that the interest rates are going to stay the same, because they are rising. So your best bet is to go ahead right now and go ahead, get pre-approved, get your documents ready. You're going to need your driver's license. You're going to need your last 2 paycheck stubs. If you get paid every 2 weeks, if you get paid weekly, you're going to need your last 4. You're going to need your W-2s or your 1099s. You're going to need your last 2 tax returns, and you are going to need your bank statements. Those are the 5 things that you are going to need when you apply for your mortgage. And I had up here, and I'll scroll through the chat, the link to our mortgage broker who gave his time this morning to make sure that he gave us this wealth of information. This is the link. So if you need to screenshot it, it's in the Facebook chat, it's in the YouTube chat. Hey, click on it, go ahead and start your application. So that way you're already ahead of the game and likely close before the wild, wild west of the real estate market starts in April 2022. So I'm not discouraging you if you have to wait until that time. I understand. We will still assist you. We will still be competitive in our negotiations. We will still get you under contract and close so that you become our client for life. So thank you again to everybody who tuned in this morning. Thank you to everybody who supports Trish Sells Atlanta, who refers business. Thank you to my team, Rondalyn. I'll introduce my other members that will be coming on very soon. Nicole Pompeo, my transaction coordinator. Nicole knows I could not do it without her. Listen, so she handles the contracts while I handle the clients, and that's how we are able to work together. Thank you to my mortgage brokers, my closing attorneys. Thank you to my contractors, everybody who makes Trish Sells Atlanta run. Thank you to my children for being understanding as they watch their mom go out here and attempt to dominate the real estate market, but ultimately to leave them a legacy. I love them, and I'm just grateful because my children have grown up real estate. My son was 4 years old when I got my license. He is now 19, so he has seen an evolution. I have 2 daughters who are watching a living example of a businesswoman. And so I just have to thank them, my family, my friends, our adopted family, who they help me manage, my family and my work life. Shouts out to them, our adopted Nana, our adopted aunties. Thank y'all. I would not be able to do it without you guys. Well, it's Saturday. Y'all go out there, be great, get those mortgage applications in. We cannot wait to serve you. Have a beautiful day, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Whether you're thinking about buying a home or selling a home,
Trish Sells ATL can help.
with the current Atlanta real estate market, buyer and seller opportunities are better than ever.
Thank y'all so much, but I'll take it from here. Sellers, this is your market. It's time for you to get off of that fence and put your home on the market and get it sold to my buyers who are waiting for you to list your home. I'd love to earn your business, so please give Trish a call at Keller Williams Realty Buckhead, 404-604-3800, or text or call 404-819-4495. Please also visit my website at TrishSellsATL.com. Let's talk about how I can assist you with achieving your real estate goals and making your dreams a reality.
List your house with our mommy at Trish Sells